So I'm putting the outside bolts on the case, or nuts in this case. Nuts in this case. Anyhow, what I've done, I've got all the washers in place. They all have a bead of silicone all the way around. I do have a couple spots on here that need a nut and bolt straight through, so I had to go back to my parts pile and dig through there, and I did find a couple, because I got that one, and then this guy here needed a bolt and a nut, and what I sealed the washer on both sides and on that one. So I'm getting ready to tighten the outside crankcase bolts, nuts. Book says to perk the nuts by the end of the camshaft first. Which I'm just using right here. And yeah, I'm not so sure that had to be done this way process, or if that was the first thing to be tightened. I'm not exactly sure why this way. But everything's lined up, everything's free. I'm not really concerned that anything's pinched. The cap for the end of the camshaft is in there, nice and straight, and it looks good and tight. So I'm just gonna go around and tighten these first by hand. And I'll put the torque wrench. The torque specs says to tighten to 10 pounds first, and then 14 on the second pass. So I'll get these all cinched up, the speed wrench, and I'll put the torque wrench down to 13. Wonderful. Nothing sounds like either. Yeah. It's like my knee, bit of extension, and the torque wrench just really bolts. Ah, shit. One thing I wanted to do before I got to this point was put goddamn Loctite. Because again, these were all put on previously, and they have the nylon lock washers as well. So, you know, we'll go with the blue thread locker on those. See, that's why the videos are, you know, rookie engine VW Volkswagen rebuild, because I am a rookie. I don't really work on motors all the time, so you know, a couple things, making a mistake here and there, I guess, is part of the game. I don't know if this is good practice, but I'm gonna put my the thread locker on the top of the threads. Just seems easier. It's gonna be in there. And the nylon lock washer is still there. I mean, although it's been run through a couple times, so it might not be doing as good as it would otherwise. These two already had it on there, that's why I didn't back those out. So I'll switch over to the torque wrench. What do you think? 2 extensions? Yeah, 2 extensions. 10 and then 14. Yeah. And then 14. So if I'm at 10 now, 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on, baby. I always get nervous doing this shit. kind of making up my own pattern at this point. Makes sense to me. It's the mains around the bearings that I'm most concerned about, as I would think anybody would be. Okay. 14. Which I'm sure that it is. You just go straight to 14 on these guys. Oh hell. My bolt is a little, and nut is a little grounded. That's why you should use new hardware if you can. You don't have issues like that. Just gotta go one more time. Voila. Beautiful thing. Case halves are together. Everything's spinning freely. At least it better be. Yeah. A little stuck at first, but yeah, it feels like butter right now. What a difference. What a difference. So I've decided to follow the book as far as assembly procedure. I don't think there's a hard set rule about when these should go in, but the book says to do it after the crank halves are together. I did purchase a kit that it also came with this cover and gasket. Somebody on one of my, I asked about this in one of my videos, and somebody said that it's for a dipstick on a different model. Wasn't exactly sure. I thought it was a Gia, but anyhow, I'm just gonna use regular silicone around here. I don't think it needs much. It is a paper gasket. You know, in theory, this should never have to come off, but I took it off just to be able to clean behind it more than anything. And you know, it was a good thing that I did take it off, because I did end up finding a little deposit of sludge and grime behind there. So the kit came with a brand new one. Not that the old one, you know, the old cover probably would have worked as well as anything. I mean, it wasn't in bad shape, it wasn't rusted out or anything, but you know, the kit, this came with the kit, and also what came with the kit is the pressure relief valves. So, you know, why not use it, right? A little bit of silicone. Pop that bad boy in place. And in theory, should fit. In theory. Well, in theory, this doesn't fit. What I think it is this is, see how thick that is? You see that? I mean, that thing, about quarter inch heavy. Here's the old one in comparison. So it's much thinner. The case, the way it's ground here, Just won't let it slide past. Let me see if I can put the gasket on first and then maybe slide this cover on after. Because I need at least the gasket. Holy shit, even the gasket's not lining up right. So it's entirely different. Wonderful. Well, that doesn't give me a warm fuzzy feeling at all about this whole thing. So, wow. The holes on the gasket don't fit around the studs. But they're paper, so there you go. Make that happen. Now if I can wedge this in there. Oh, there it goes. See, just needed to give it a little twist, put it in, put it on at an angle. It seemed to slip right on it at that point. Brand new nuts. And the new hardware after all this, all the money spent, all the hard work and long hours of doing this, you know, looks nice, and it just looks nice to have the new hardware and bolts. I'm guessing, yeah, does this really need to be torqued? Just has to not leak. Even pressure. There you go. So anyhow, the kit did come with new plungers. Give a little shot of oil in each hole. Now the book says, Crankcase the pressure that goes into your left front plunger with the open end down. It says to use a magnet to make sure it's free before you send it home. Oil the spring and then. Alright, I was trying to find out. I mean, I've seen a ton of videos, but I didn't remember which spring went where. And, you know, I looked down the hole, and it's quite obvious that the long one goes to the rear of the case, and the short one goes, which would be up against the flywheel, which is the front of the motor. These plungers are identical to one another. These are brand new. It wants, the book says to put the hollow end down. So, a little sploogey with some assembly lube. It says to use a magnet running it out. Guess what? I don't have a magnet, so what I have is crossed fingers. But that sumbitch doesn't stick. I need to quit crossing my fingers because here we go again. Let's see if I can fish this out of there. This is the best I could do. This used to be a, you know, one of those extended magnets, but you know, you see what happened there. Hey, it worked. Lucky day. Alright. Let's do what the book said this time. Run in and out of there. Oh, it moves free. Alright. It kind of got stuck the first time, so I got nervous. Figured I better fish it out of there just to make sure. But it's nice and free in there. My magnet. Good and strong. Still, even without the one. So I'll get the other one in there. Bit of assembly lube. big spring goes in the rear of the motor. So I'm gonna put some assembly lube on this guy. Run it down there. This one has a crush washer. About having to put any kind of sealant on there. Get my big boy screwdriver. Give it hell. Lock this out of video. So as well as the stock plungers, I bought a high pressure relief valves as well, and with the idea that I'm gonna get an oil pressure gauge on this thing, because I did go with the 88 slip-ins, which are a thin-walled piston jug cylinder. I just want to keep a close eye on the oil pressure and make sure oil, is running freely through the motor and helping to keep things cool, because that's going to be real important, especially with the 88 slip-ins. One of the biggest reasons I went with those is they were less expensive, and now I know why. And I'm a go against the grain kind of guy sometimes when it comes to that kind of thing. I got it in my head that I can do it better than the last guy, or as good as the last guy, if not better, or I'll just take extra special care of it, make sure everything goes well as it can, to make sure nothing does go haywire. And this is going in a sand rail. It mainly will get driven in the spring and in the fall when it's not the hottest time of the year. It's not so pleasant to be out there ripping around when it's 90 degrees and humid out. You got sand flying up everywhere. So I think if I baby it a little bit, and I'm not much into ripping on it. The only reason I want the extra horsepower is so I can get a little bit of more. Actually, what I want out of it is more torque. I need a more lower end for getting through the sand and for climbing hills. And when you're back in the woods and the trails in northern Michigan, there's a lot of whoop-dees. You can't really go fast over them, especially in a sand rail, especially my sand rail. It's not really built for rough roads or rough conditions. It's not a jumper per se, and that's another thing I need to work on is softening up the suspension. But you're not really going that fast, so you need more lower end so you can ride out second and third gear. You barely hit third gear most of the time going through the trails where we ride, so it does need some low end